In this lesson, I'd like to talk about some best practice suggestions for modeling in SOLIDWORKS. Best practice is something that you'll hear about from time to time, and it's really just intended to be a set of suggestions that allows a group of people to work together in a standardized way. You can never create a set of rules that will apply every time in every situation. But best practice rules are meant to be rules that apply most of the time in most situations. For example, if you're modeling a part such as the handlebars part, the very first sketch that you create should have some sort of relation to the origin. So if we open up the first sketch, we notice that the origin is placed in the center line of the bar at the mid-plane. If you have a good reason for putting the origin, say, at the end of the handlebar, you may be able to make a case for that. But symmetry is always part of best practice. Another best practice, while we're editing this sketch, is that sketches should be fully defined. And even in situations like this, where the dimension goes well off the screen, all of the dimensions and relationships in this sketch are necessary if you were to need to recreate this or to make sure that your sketch reacts predictably to changes. Another best practice is to make sure that you use the simplest set of features that you can select. Remember that other people will normally have to deal with your data after you've created it. Whether someone else is machining a model from it, making a drawing from it, or using it to assemble parts, someone else is going to be looking at your data. And in SOLIDWORKS, it's very important the process that you use to create your models. In this case, it might have been simpler to do the entire shape as a single sweep or loft, but I chose to simplify the model by just doing a sweep first with a straight diameter, and then later adding the loft. Some companies also use the idea that you should not make any in-context parts. Remember that we created an in-context version of these handlebars, where the handlebars were first positioned and then matched up to the holes in the fork. If you work at a company that standardized on avoiding in-context relationships, they should have a process in place for how to eliminate in-context relations once you've created them, or how to avoid creating them altogether. Other best practices are to sketch on system planes rather than faces. This is a difficult one to implement because if you're sketching in a part like this, it's just so easy to pick on this face and sketch on it. In fact, the SOLIDWORKS official basic training has you do things exactly like that. And I'm sure in the course of these infinite skill lessons, I've done the same thing. But if you are creating models that are to remain very robust and not fall apart during changes, then you should really avoid sketching on model faces. You should prefer sketching on reference planes. In particular, the 3 standard planes that come with every part or assembly. The idea is that during change, there are some SOLIDWORKS elements that are more robust than others, and the fewer parents a feature has, the more robust it will be. If you open one of the more complex parts in this assembly, say the gas tank, and you look at all of the features in it, some of these features will have a long list of parents. And so if any of those parent features fail, the child feature will also fail. Let's take a look at a feature like this surface knit, right-click, and select parent-child. This is dependent on a mirror feature, a trim feature, and a boundary feature. If any one of those 3 features fail, or the sketches that are associated with them, then the knit feature will fail as well. So the best practice in this case is to minimize the number of parents or children that any feature has. Of course, one of the strengths of the parametric modeling paradigm is that you're able to create relationships between parts. So this is a best practice that you need to find the balance on. You need to find where you're comfortable in the continuum between robust parts and the possibility that you may have to rebuild some parts later on. In the same way that each of your sketches should be grounded to the origin in some ways, you should also ground a part to the origin in your assemblies. In this assembly, the frame feature was used as the base part. There are multiple parts that have motion relative to this, such as the fork and the rear swing arm, rear wheel, but the frame stays stationary relative to the rest of the motion. Generally speaking, this fixed part should be first in your feature manager, just to make sure that it's easy to find and make reference to if you need to. Also, when you're working with assemblies, let's get rid of the lightweight here by right-clicking and set lightweight to resolved. In general, flexible subassemblies shown here by the frame subassembly and the fork subassembly are not good ideas. And if you're talking about getting SOLIDWORKS to work quickly and efficiently, flexible subassemblies are kind of a risky technique to use. Also notice that rebuild symbols should be paid attention to in assemblies. Whenever you see a rebuild symbol, go ahead and press the rebuild button. Many companies will have best practices, including using folders for standard hardware. So I would, for example, take all of these bolts, that was select on the first bolt and shift select on the last bolt, and then right-click and select Add to New Folder. You can rename the folder hardware, and you can move it to the end of the list if you need to. You can also put mates in folders if you choose to do that, but be aware that the mates are also listed under each individual part in their own folder. If you run into mates that have errors, or in fact, if you run into any errors in SOLIDWORKS, it's a best practice to just repair the mates right away. If you don't do that, those mates may compound down the line and cause more problems for you later. When you're troubleshooting errors in mates, troubleshoot from the bottom up, because these mates are listed in the order in which they were created by default. And so you'll need to troubleshoot from the last mate added and then work your way up the line. When you do that, most of the errors will work themselves out after you fix the first couple of errors. Also, assembly features such as the mirror component or other types of things like assembly cuts, holes, weld beads, or assembly fillets or chamfers should be used sparingly. It's a good idea to assign mentally a risk factor to every feature that you create in SOLIDWORKS. It would be fantastic if the software were perfect and if nothing ever happened and there were no consequences for taking risks. But this is just not the case. SOLIDWORKS is real-world software and will occasionally crash or cause you some other problems. You can help yourself by being more conservative with your choice of features and modeling techniques.